Hi everyone, in this video we're going to create a very simple form to illustrate the form process in HTML plus some CSS styling. Please note I'm not going to go through all form elements, just a very basic form to highlight the various components. So the first thing that I want to do is to create a new HTML file, so file, then we want to go to new and then HTML. HTML5 and go create. Then I want to go file, save as. I'm just going to call this file form. You can name it whatever file type you want or file you want. I'm just going to go save. So that's now our form file. I'm literally going to use the let's use the about styling that we had before, so I'm literally just going to copy this, bring it in. Please note I also added the favicon into this particular page as well. Then I'm just going to close the about and just save that. And then I'm just going to set up my links first, so let's make the next link, in this case, rather than about. Let's just make this one form. And put form in here. So that's fine. And then we just want to put the other details into form and about. So let's just bring about up again. And just make sure that we add that particular element into the about page, that link in there, and save that. So now our other two pages will link to this correctly. Just put that on live view and that one on live view so we can see that the form link will be there now, and that will go to that. The about link, that's fine. And then in the form one, we want to add in the form, and we just want to switch the active class to our form page, save that, and you can see that that's now active there. Obviously we want to change this to say form, and now we want to start to adding in the form detail and all the rest of it. So I have created a simple wireframe of what I want the form to look like. So here's our heading 1, and then I just want a bit of simple form data. Please note it won't work in terms of sending the data to the server. I'm only just doing a very basic form and showing the process. So this is the design of the form that we want to create. So I'll go through the process of how to create a form that looks something like this. So let's just move that out to the side. Okay, so first things first, let's get rid of all of this data here. So now we've got our form. So now let's start adding in our HTML. So first thing I want to do is create a form. And then the tag. Now please note we can put actions in here and other things. At the moment I'm just going to leave it as a very simple form. Next I want to create a field set. And I want to create a legend to go in there. That was that new user details. So new user details, end the legend, and let's just end the form set there, and we can see that's that box. Let's just drop that down to 66%. So now we're starting to generate the box that we want to put things into. So inside of this field set now, we want to start creating our names, our password, our email, etc. So let's create a paragraph, and we want to use labels. So we've got a label, and let's just name this name. And the text that we want to add in here, the end of our label, and the input type that we want to use. In this case, we're just going to use standard text. So you can see all the different types of things that we can use. I'm just going to use text in here. Across in the tag and in the paragraph. And then we can see now that we've got the name in there. So I'm just going to continue and add several different types, and I'll explain them to you in a moment. So you can see here I've added just a couple of other types just to save on time. I've added a password, and the input type is password, and I've added email, and the input type is just going to be text in this particular case. And when I refresh, we can see that we're starting to get more data here. The next one that I want to add is a radio button, just to give you an idea of the radio button. So again, I will just pause and we can go through and create several lots of text, and I'll explain them as we go along. So we can see that I've just added in this case, a gender item. Again, what I'm using now is, rather than standard inputs, I'm creating radio buttons. So my input type is now a radio button, and I've just created a male and female radio button here, which we can see in this particular form now. So I'm just going to add in a few other details, and I'll explain them again as we go along. So in this particular case, I've now added in an options list. So we can see here that it's a combo box or a pull down box. I've just said, I've just added a label called "How did you find us?" and the options that I've added in there is friend or internet. We can add lots more options if we want to, and this is the type of data set that we will get from this particular thing. So I'm just going to add one more example using a text area, and then we can add in our buttons and style. So now I've just added in just a text area. We can see here, this is what it's going to look like. I've just got a comment label in there, and we can see the text area and the sort of sizing. So we can see what this does. Obviously this will increase the height of the text area, so we can see that we can increase that, and this will increase the width. We'll just leave it back at 4 for this instance. We just want a small comment. Now obviously you can change that and modify this sizings and things through CSS as well. Finally, I'm just going to add some buttons in, and we can be done. So let's add a couple of buttons. I'll show you how to do that. So input, let's add a submit button. In this case, the type is now going to be submit. I'm just going to add a class in here for styling my buttons that I'll add in CSS. And in this case, my value is going to be submit with a capital S, and that will allow me to actually submit data from my form. However, I'm not going to build that particular aspect of the form in this particular example. Let's just create a reset button now, again, so that we can reset data if need be. Form button, and value is going to be reset. And now we can see that we've got a submit button, a reset button, and the different types of data. There we go. Now we've got a submit button, a reset button, and our form. So now we want to go about styling this particular form. So I'm just going to create another separate CSS file. We could add it to existing CSS files, but I just figured for the purpose of this, we'll just add it to just a form style. Again, you can, as I say, just use your other styles. We don't need to worry about that, so let's just create another file, new CSS. Now, we shouldn't keep creating all these new CSS files, but like I say, for this example, it's fine. Save as, it's just going to be form styles. Save, so form styles, done. Refresh, we've now got our form styles in there. So I'm just going to close these little fellows down and just keep it neat, so our form styles. So now we want to go about creating different styles for this particular form. So the first thing I want to do, as per normal, is default all of my different components here. So we've added in a form, a field set, a legend, various labels, and different types. So let's just go into our my styles here and start to default each of these. So let's default my form, my field set, my label. Just refresh. So we've got all those in there. What other ones do we have? Labels. We might want to do our options and other things as well. Do option I should say, sorry. Etc. So that will do for those. And then in our form styles, now we can start creating the individual styles for this. So the first thing we want to do is style our labels. So let's create a style for our labels. I think we had our legend, so let's create a style for our legend, our field set, and our form button now, that form button class. Just remember, with a class, we add the dot in front. So the first thing we do with our label is let us increase the font size a little bit. Let's just make it just slightly larger, so just a little bit larger on the font size. Now what we can do is we can float our various labels to different sizes and do various things with them. So with my label, let's actually make the width a certain size. So we'll set it to say 10 EMs. Let's float that to the left, and let's text align to the right hand side, which will allow me then to see this. So this is now that 10 EM, so we can see here that we can obviously reduce this, make it say 5, and you can sort of see what happens. So it just so happened that 10 EM is just a nice size here. This is our alignment to the right hand side of that particular block, and we want to add just a little bit of margin in on the side here. So let's add a little bit of margin to the right hand side, say 1 EM's worth of margin. So now we've got all of our text boxes aligned, we've got all of our content aligned in here. For our legend, which is this little spot up here, let's add in a little bit larger font size. So font size, say like 1.3 EMs, just a little bit larger than the words underneath it. And with our field set, let's add in a rounded border, just something a little bit different from CSS3. So we've got that little rounded border in there. And we should put the rounded border radiuses in for the other types. I'm just copying them in there. So that's for Opera, Mozilla base, so Firefox, and then Chrome Safari in there as well. And just change the border color on this. So there's the border color, and we can make it say, let's let's make it black. There we go. So now we've got a black border on there. We've got about all our various components. So we've got our field set done, and very quickly let's just do our buttons. So again, let's just put some rounded, actually we might as well just, let's just copy those across. One could create a rule set with both of those, and we could look at doing that. Let me just put in the font size here, and let's float these to the right hand side. Form button. So let me just make sure that our other one, it is. Got to love bugs. Equal sign missing. So even the best of us make errors. So there we go, back to form styles. So now we've got it flowing to the right. So just to check our wireframe again. So that's what our original wireframe was going to be like. So we've got our heading, we've got our details here, we've styled it in line with this. So we just need to obviously add in some colour and probably a little bit of margin on these sides is the next job that we want to do. So let's add that margin in. It's maybe 10 pixels. So we've now got that margin on the sides. And we want to put a bit of margin in on the bottom here as well. So let's just put some margin bottom of say 10 pixels after our buttons. So, and maybe on the right hand side as well. Margin right, so 10 pixels. There we go. So we've got that margin in on the right hand side. We're aligned here, so that's looking a little bit better. So now let's just add that background colour in here. So background colour, set to grey. So now we've got the background colour in. All of our labels and various content has been created there, and that's pretty close to our original form. You know, we could make this radial, we could do other various bits and pieces to this particular thing, but that's a very basic form. So now let's just quickly preview that in Chrome, and we can see our form there. Obviously it's not doing anything, but I can add content in here and obviously reset that. And we can see this is the active form is blue, so we can change that colour if we wanted to, and obviously add various things to make this disappear, and etc. etc. But at this point in time, this will do. We can see that we can increase or decrease this. We can obviously set that to enable or not enable the user to be able to do those kind of things. But that's just a basic form in HTML and CSS. Thank you for watching.